My video for July the 30th, 2018 is entitled Failed Promises Destroy Faith. And by this way, this is my video number 2802. I want to say that on every video from now on. In the previous video, I talked again about my journey, now moving toward completion of 72 years. Yes, some people have criticized me for failing in my faith, losing confidence in what I thought was a divine, omniscient, omnipotent, and omnipresent being without beginning or end. While nearly dying a couple times and requiring open heart surgeries to replace failing aortic valves, I still held on to my faith in a loving God. Then, having my non-mortgaged home stolen by criminal banksters operating in total fraud with the willing compliance of a crooked judge and sheriff deputies, my faith reached a breaking point. My third attorney in the matter failed to even show up for the hearing, in which I was not even allowed to present the affidavits or other paperwork I had gathered over the several years of fighting these charlatans. That attorney even had the nerve to charge me another $600 after I was evicted from my own home, promising to challenge the decision. Of course, 2 tractor-trailer-sized dumpsters of my personal belongings were taken within 2 days after appearing in court. That attorney, as the 2 before her, failed to do anything on my behalf. Is it any wonder I consider lawyer and liar to be synonymous terms? But the biggest failed promises supposedly came from the Almighty God. To whom can we turn when God fails us? Yes, I've had some Christians and others criticize me for blaming God. But as I've said in other videos, all my life, since childhood, I had a strong conviction that I was on a mission from God. In fact, mentioning my surgeries, when I went into the hospital the second time, and during which I ended up having my second open heart surgeries, the doctors at Shands Teaching Hospital in Gainesville, Florida, the doctors interviewed me and they kept asking me, do you think you'll survive? I didn't know that the doctors at Holmes Regional Medical Center had already said that they felt that my heart was inoperable. And they sent me to Shands because it is a teaching hospital attempting cutting-edge surgical technologies. And I don't know what all is involved in that. But in any case, I always answered them, yes, I know I'm going to survive because my mission isn't finished yet. And my mission, of course, is to live to see and do whatever I can to help bring the kingdom of heaven to earth. I know those of you that listen all the time know that I've said that lots of times. And it's true. I believe, and I still believe, that I'm on a mission. But I feel with 2012 coming and going and no significant change, and we still had Obama in the White House, and he turned out to be a disaster. Hillary would have been even a bigger disaster, of course, but Bush before them was a disaster. I mean, we've had disaster after disaster after disaster in the political arena because the political arena is run by demons. As far as I'm concerned, the people that run the financial system of the world, enslaving humanity from the beginning, are demons. They are not human. They have no morality, no ethics. They don't even have natural compassion. I mean, we came, they died, so what? I mean, that was Hillary's quote. But in any case, we live on a planet of lies. And this has been allowed to go on and on and on for generations, at least millennia from what we are told. and multiple millennia, in fact. And some say, as I've said in the other video, this is the fifth world or something like that, or coming to the end of the fifth world, something like that. This is the destruction has repeated over and over again. I don't know if that's true or not. It might be, it might not be. We don't know, because we've been fed lies all of our lives. And the lies continue into our generation. People tell me Donald Trump is going to bring the positive change. Well, I would hope he does, but I'm not going to hold my breath waiting for that. I'm not going to hold my breath waiting for the currency revaluation and the ability to cash in my one bond that I invested in. I went through hell with the loss of my home. That was the hardest thing that ever happened. The surgeries were a piece of cake. Yes, I was in intensive care after the surgeries, and of course they put me in intensive care when I first went to Shands, and I hadn't been in intensive care prior to that. And that's when my feet swelled up and got numb, and I've never recovered from the numbness of my feet. The swelling, of course, went down a long time ago. Most of the bruising that happened at that time has disappeared. But the numbness has never disappeared, which makes me unsure of myself to walk too fast or to dance. And I mean, I used to love dancing. And I had a lady come up and ask me to dance, and she remembered me from the past. She said, "You used to dance all the time." Yes, I did. At the time that I met her previously, which was a number of years ago now. And I ended up telling her what had happened as far as the surgeries and everything else and the numbness of feet. But the numbness of feet, again, did not occur as a result of the stroke. And I didn't have the heart attacks till after all the surgery, or after not all the surgeries, after the surgeries. I had 4 times I went back into the hospital after having heart attacks. And they were, I guess, mild heart attacks, and they ended up sending me back home. I did stay in for prolonged periods of time, but as soon as I could, I got off the medication, and I don't presently take any. The only medication that I take, and as soon as that bottle is finished, was a bottle of, I forget how many 500 baby aspirin. It was as soon as that's finished, I'm not going to be taking them anymore. And there was a period of time I did take them even after the surgery, but I thought, well, I may as well take them. I've got them. And so I've been taking them for, several months now, till the bottle's almost completely empty. But what I'm trying to say is it's the failed promises of God that were the most devastating to me, because I really felt that God is not answering my prayers. I mean, it would be really easy just to make my feet not numb anymore. That would be, to me, that's a simple little thing, but it doesn't happen. And so I can't believe that something that I can't see, like changes in my heart, are going to be real when I've asked for that too, because there's no symptom that I can tell what's going on inside of my chest. But I can certainly tell every time I take steps that my feet aren't better yet. That's not that they hurt. They just, I feel like I'm going to fall over sometimes. And there's been a couple of times, or a few times, that I've actually felt like I might have been having a mild stroke, where for a brief period of time, I sort of get dizzy, and I've talked about that in other videos as well. So folks, I really want my faith to be built back up, and not just my faith, but everybody's faith who has had confidence in a loving God. And again, the idea of a loving God is taught in all religions, but masqueraded with a bunch of other stuff that makes us unloving. And then we have to perceive God as unloving, because if God only loves those that agree with God, then God is very immature. And I don't need an immature God, and neither does anybody else. We need a God that's able to love beyond all the boundaries and all of the limitations of human society. Thank you, folks, for listening, and namaste.